This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Pierre Novelli. You can text the show on 81215. Follow us on X and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. Okay, that's us described. Here's a funny thing, lady. I went into a... this is another Edinburgh reminiscence, even though it was 2 weeks ago, but I forgot to tell you last week. There's a big sweet shop that's called something like the Cavalcade of Candy or something like that. Might not be that.
Mr. Whizpop's Fabulous Treats.
Exactly.
That sort of thing.
And it's just sweets. And I went in there with my child and I said... smell them sweets. It does make you feel like I might get some pick and mix or something. And I then went in a couple of days later, but towards the end of the evening when there was less people, and I saw the guy...
Strange thing to do with your evening.
Yeah.
It's a sweet shop.
Yeah, it was about 8 o'clock. And somebody... they said, can you turn the machine up a bit to one of the guys? And he went over and he turned this machine up and he went like... And I realised it was the sweet smell. It was actually a machine pumping it out. And I'd fallen. I'd been drawn in by the lovely smell of sweets, and it was some synthetic.
Oh, they lured you in as well.
Synthetic, not like those sweets.
No, but at least you
the
couldn't
organic, au naturel.
You can't eat the machine.
No, that's true.
I've got a T-shirt with that on.
It's a good band name.
Yeah.
Mr. Frank Skinner.
Yeah.
Whilst we're on the subject,
Are you going to call me Mr. Frank then, like it was the Basil Brush show?
like a loyal retainer.
Yeah.
Mr.
Mr.
Frank.
Frank.
in many ways.
By the way, Mr. Frank. Yeah. Go on, Miss Emily.
Whilst we're on the subject of sweet things,
Yeah.
I would like to send my gratitude to Anne from Tunnock's Tea Cakes.
I'm so happy there's still people called Anne.
Yes.
Yeah.
I met Anne with the producer on a delayed
With
train.
her producer or yours?
No, ours.
Okay.
On a train from Edinburgh. We were stuck on a train for about 10 hours.
Oh.
No bathroom breaks for Ray.
No, yeah.
Oh, what does a dog do on a train for 10 hours?
That's classified. That's between me and my fellow passengers.
Okay.
But we met a charming lady, Frank, who worked for Tunnock's.
Tunnock's is the tea cake manufacturers. Scottish, I believe.
Yes.
In fact, I know they're Scottish because I did a TV series for a Scottish company and they sent me a sort of Tunnock's gift basket.
Oh.
Which was very nice.
I believe she worked for, it's a family business, Sir Archibald Boyd Tunnock. is what I believe his full name is.
Archie Tunnock, he was at school. Fantastic. Was he in the Beano?
Oh, he must have been. And she sent us, well, I mean, you've already got stuck into the bucket hats.
Yes,
right.
I can't wear... I'd love a bucket hat that fit me. I see the England cricket team in bucket hats, and they look so cool. But I was pointing out, I actually need, because my head is so big, I need a literal bucket. And it doesn't look so good, an actual bucket. So, although you get a chin strap, which you don't get with the bucket hat.
That's true. In high winds, you'd be safer.
And we've also got...
But they are lovely.
Do you know what I liked is when the trolley came round, she saw the caramel wafers, the Tunnock's caramel wafers, and Anne went, oh, there they are.
Oh, how lovely.
Company woman.
Yeah.
There they were, because they're not here this morning. Because
Can we say we're not sponsored by Tunnock's?
No.
It's just an act of human
they've not
kindness.
paid us anything.
No, well, they've given us free Tunnock's. They did give
And
us
the
some
producer-
particularly delicious milk chocolate ones.
And then what happened to those, Frank?
Well, the producer decided she was having them for herself, even though you'd done all the talking on the train. You'd made peace. I think you were the one who provided the glass beads by way of trade. And And then the producer took the milk chocolate, which, as we all know, is better than dark chocolate.
I disagree.
Do you?
I do.
I'll tell you a little story after this break, which
Okay.
will blow your mind. But she actually stole them away. We never saw them.
Well, I had to find it out as well. I took a punt, didn't I, Frank?
Great interrogation.
It was very Columbo.
How did I do the interrogation? It was good.
You said, it's odd we don't have any milk chocolate ones. It's almost like, I bet they're in the producer's cupboard, at which point the producer went red.
Yeah. You got out your cigar. My wife's a big fan of Tunnocks tea cakes.
Yeah, exactly.
If I could just get a sample.
just one more thing. Did you have any milk chocolate tonics?
Seems strange that the most common type would not be in
Just one thing nagging at me. It's just dark chocolate. Is that all they do, tonics?
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Can I tell you something, Pierre?
Yeah.
You've got quite a lot of food on your mouth.
Oh, no.
I didn't want to say that.
I know, but
you've done
someone's
the right
got it. That's
thing.
what friends are for.
It's Tunnocks again.
I worked with a guy, and he suddenly said to me, "Will you go up to the offices?" The offices was where the middle class people were. We thought they were middle class. Looking back, they were just like us, pretending. Anyway, he said, "Can you go up to the offices and take this up to Mary or whatever?" So I went up. And she said, "I don't know what this is for. I don't understand." So I walked all the way through the offices back again. When I got back, he was killing himself. And I'd got, can I say, something on my nose.
Oh.
And he deliberately set me up the offices so I could share it with everyone on the staff. There's a strange noise. Maybe you can't hear it at home. It sounds like there's a mosquito in the microphone.
Or a
thing.
very, very slowly deflating balloon.
Do you know what it sounds like? That sweet shop have been piping through some of that,
Yeah.
of the fumes, the sweet fumes.
Don't worry, the producer will sort it out.
Well, she would, but she's too busy eating those
Too
caramels.
busy, like Lady Macbeth, washing her hands over and over trying to get the milk chocolate off them.
Did you know that Subway do the same thing with the smells? The, like bread smell.
No, do they?
Well, there is
Who's
fake...
drawn in by... Oh, the bread is supposed to be how you sell your house, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Getting a lovely fresh baked bread smell in there. But
Yeah, I'm really drawn in by bread.
I could make...
Do you know what?
There
That
could be
wasn't
bread in this house.
Carbs! I'll buy this place.
Also, it seems quite a large amount of money to part with.
Yeah.
Just because, it smelt vaguely
Yeah,
of
go to a
dough.
bakery.
Exactly.
Buy a bakery.
You think bakeries would be the easiest to sell by definition?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
stank of bread.
Exactly. Yeah, there
I
must
think
be
we're
a
gonna
queue when a bakery goes on the market.
It's an estate agent saying we're going to be able to treble the price,
Yeah.
given the bread smell.
I've never been in a building that smelled this much of bread. So we're very optimistic about it.
What is it they say, Frank? Is it coffee and bread? I think it's coffee as well, is it?
Coffee
Yeah.
and bread, is that a Blur song?
This is the gentrification of park life.
Yes, here's a thing. Here is a funny thing. Look, there's a panic in the room that says we can hear a strange noise. Maybe you can't hear it at home, but I think it's interfering with my natural vibes. Can we just ignore it and talk to me like a human being? Everyone's looking like there's gas leaking into the room. The producer will sort it out. I've got every faith in her. Last phrase in inverted commas. Okay. Here's the thing I want to tell you. I went to the proms on Saturday night.
Did you?
You know, the proms, papa, you know, all that stuff. And classical music, yes. And I went to see the Aurora Orchestra. Ever heard of them?
No.
Well, they've got a distinct thing which singles them out from the other orchestras.
Are they green and they only appear in the Northern Hemisphere?
No.
Lovely.
Very good, though.
Thank you. Good night.
And they weren't at all Borealis, if you're going to suggest that.
Oh.
No, they memorise the music. So they don't use sheet music at all. So they did there was a bit of a speech before in which a senior member there spoke about the trailblazing nature of this.
Yeah.
And I had what I would call a revelation. And I'll explain it after this.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So I was at the proms, the Aurora Orchestra, who pride themselves on memorising the music rather than reading it off sheet music. And in fact, it was described by the lady who did the speech as trailblazing. And then I thought, oh, just a second, I've just done 30 shows in Edinburgh, all memorised, with improvisation as well added.
Yeah.
Oh, no one's describing me as trailblazing. And then it occurred to me that classical music and your orchestra, they've been getting away with it for years.
Being on script.
They are the Lance Armstrong of the arts, with performance-enhancing notes. Because if you think about it, I don't just mean stand-up comedians, but it's an opera.
Singers.
If you get to an opera, the crowd save their loudest applause for the orchestra in a, yes, we know the true stars of the show are.
Yeah.
The ones with notes. They're the real
Sitting
star.
down.
Sitting down.
Lazy.
with notes.
Sitting down, the newsreaders of the
ones-
entertainment world.
The ones killing the forests. They're the heroes.
Sitting
Where these
down.
singers have had to learn every note off by heart. Ballet dancers, rock musicians, and classical musicians take their notes on.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but if I see a stand-up comic doing like, maybe you do it, Pierre, and I don't want to judge. Too late. I already have. But when they do work in progress and they got notes, and I think, don't insult me, is what I always think.
Oh, they bring on the iPad.
I think it's fine for work in progress.
Do you?
Yeah. But you don't go to see orchestra in progress.
No,
Well, you don't.
I don't. So really, it's not trailblazing, it's sort of levelling up.
So did you
That's
sort
what
of-
I would call it.
Immediately sort of stand up in the proms and start going, boo!
Well, I said to a
You've been
couple of
lying
people,
all along.
I said to a couple of people, what's the fuss about? I've been memorising shows for years, and they just looked at me like I was an oik.
But
Exactly that.
What would they say? Would they say, oh, but it's hard?
Yeah,
So you're right,
I
Frank,
would
sorry.
guess,
It's
I guess
very-
ballet and opera singing and acting. You do a Hamlet, you'll have to learn it.
Yeah.
Also, Frank, it's very nice, their little setup down there in that pit. They've got all lights, lovely, moody lights. It's like a little study down there.
Yeah, they're the arts equivalent of the newsreader. They're just there it is, and you read it out. Then you get all the plaudits. Absolute scandal.
You've exploded it.
I have, and it's about time.
There's going to be a lot of very angry people in black tie outside your house.
It reminds me of when I worked in a factory in my early working days, and I was a labourer, and the other labourers would say, "Whoa, slow down a bit. We don't want the management thinking we can do 20 of these when we can, we've been doing 8 for years." It's like that. I bet they're saying to the Aurora Orchestra, "Hold on. Don't let anyone know it's memorisable."
You're getting in the way of a sweet deal.
Yeah. It's like if I go to the circus, the people up in the air who have the safety net, I don't even watch that bit. I just look at my phone if they've got a safety net or a harness of any kind. Who cares? But if there's genuine danger, I'm hooked.
What about when the clowns come out of the little car? Do you sort of watch them in the sort of respectful way you might watch a colleague?
Yeah.
People of the same stripe as us.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but even then, I'm hoping the car might over-explode, like in the Italian Job.
I'm hoping they'll have some sort of emotional breakdown generally at that
I
point.
always think if I was a clown and I had
But then again, no.
and something terrible happened to me and I was telling them about it, I'd like to enhance my state by making tears squirt out of my eyes about 4 feet to the distance.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a text in
Nightmare.
from... a tweet, I apologise, not a text in.
An ex, do you mean?
An ex, sorry.
Do you
yes, we've had
call
a
an
post.
individual thing then?
Yeah, what
an
do you call exes?
post.
Well, let's not get on to that.
Ex-post.
They want us to call them...
X-file. You've had an
posts.
X-file come
We've
in.
had an X-file come in
All right.
from Helen, who says, I'm on tenterhooks waiting for you to explain why milk chocolate is better than dark.
Well, only last night, I give you a slice of my life. Last night, my partner and my child and I sat at home watching athletics on the television, and Kath said, I got some chocolate for my birthday. Would you like some? And we both became illuminated with anticipation. And she said, it's 100% cacao. And I thought, where did cacao come? What happens when it used to be like, we'd say cocoa?
Yeah.
But anyway, it became cacao. And I had a square, and a square of it was big. It was like 2 inches across. It was like
very dark?
like a paving. It didn't look any darker than your average, not very nice plain chocolate. And it was bitter as the cod. It was like eating a very bitter candle. It stuck to your lips and cloying. And me and Boz were going, it's the worst thing I've ever had in my mouth.
No milk solids, no nice creaminess to
Nothing,
it.
no sugar.
And I bet there was a very artsy-fartsy cardboard packaging as well.
I didn't even. I think it came in one of those poo bags that people. It should have.
Hessian sack.
It was utterly. I would rather eat soil than 100% cacao. Was it? Is it cacao? Is that what it's called? Cacao.
Cacao.
It's the very sort of trendy, like, why not have a healthy treat and have a cacao nib?
So we Googled it. Novelli style.
Yes.
I was going to say, that's a nice evening.
And
Googling your cacao.
yeah, so Kath read out remarks which varied from most disgusting thing I've ever had, cheers from me and Boz, to once you've had it a few times. I didn't like it at first, but I thought, but boy, what are we persevering for? We could have nice chocolate that just, it's there at the door waiting for you nice, not somewhere back deep in the house that you have to travel to.
Also, the pure cacao is more expensive than the nice chocolate.
Exactly,
Let's
Frank.
spend more money on something nasty.
Why is there a pain barrier you have to push on through?
Oh, man. Exactly. If you were personal trainer said, it's very tough now, it'll get easier. I can see that.
Yeah.
A relationship, maybe marriage. But am I going to go the extra mile for 100% cacao? No. I can say now, I will never, ever eat that vile mock again.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
By the way, earlier in this show, I mentioned Mrs. Colombo, as
did.
in, my wife, etc., etc.
That was in reference to me. I've got to be honest, nailing the producer. I mean,
Yes.
I really had her nailed.
Yes, you caught her brown-handed, having stolen the milk chocolate tonics.
Yeah.
Anyway, it occurred to me, and you know me, I'm always looking for a text in. Favourite on-scene characters.
Ooh.
So I'm thinking...
you're good, Frank Skinner.
Although she did have a spin-off series, Mrs. Colombo, which bombed, and I don't think was ever shown in England.
Well, I suppose in that series, Columbo's the unseen character.
Oh, I don't know, he might have. You know, when they bring them in to help the spin-off.
Try and juice the...
Yeah, the way...
I don't know if he'd have done it.
I think Morph appeared in the first Laverne and Shirley just to push them away from the jetty, so to speak.
Was Charlie ever seen in Charlie's Angels? I don't believe he was. I'm sure our readers can tell us.
There was the man who was his sort of assistant.
Bosley or something.
Bosley.
Yes.
Was he?
Sort of butler guy.
Arteria was never seen, I think. If any of you are old enough to remember Rompole of the Bailey with Leo McKern, he would speak of she who must be obeyed.
In fact, I think she might sit in the chair currently.
Of the unseen characters.
Of the unseen characters,
There'll be others.
Can we count or semi-count that sort of the red-headed character from Happy Days who just went upstairs at one point and never came down again.
Is that right?
Yeah, they cut him after a couple
there
of
was
episodes.
one in
Who was that?
There was an American soap where a man went out to chop wood and was never referred to ever again. You assume there was some terrible Fargo-type incident.
Yes.
Fishy agents. That's the problem.
By the way, Chris Hardy
has been in touch, Frank.
Chris Hardy stopped me in the street in Edinburgh. You know when people stop you in the street and they say, can I have a selfie or something like that? You know that, guys. Well, she said to me, I've done a portrait of you. I mean, that no one's... Well, about 4 people have said it over a long period. And she has. And she sent it to me, and it's lovely. And it's based on, I believe it's Frans Howell's Buffoon with Loot.
Is it really called Buffoon with Loot?
Buffoon with Loot. I don't mean as in Elon Musk. I mean loot. Loot as in the instrument.
Yes. Lute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a fantastic painting.
We've just had a look, and I
To
do
the
like
lascivious pleasing of a lute, as Richard III said. Yes, we'll put it up on our thing. It's me in as the buffoon, but instead of a lute, I've got a banjolele.
And I think she's really captured something.
I
of
do.
you.
I like it. Well done, Chris Hardy. You can check out her website. It's called chrishardyart.org.
It's not called Kiss Me Hardy.
It isn't called Kiss Me Hardy.
Org.
No.
You don't want to attract
was,
unsavoury types.
No, I think it was... looking back, it was fine. At the time, we didn't know, you see. At the time, we thought, ooh. But now, we're thinking ahead of his time, Nelson.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Pierre Novelli. You can text the show on 81215. I'm already laughing at saying X. I haven't got to it yet. Follow us on X and Instagram, Frank on the Radio. Email via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. I had a letter from John Walsh. Do you remember who John Walsh is? You won't remember. If you remembered this, I'd give you a rosette with memory man.
So I can look like a 70s Tory MP?
What? I don't think a member of the Aurora Orchestra would have remembered this. With their tremendous memory feats. But here we go.
I do remember vaguely, Frank.
Do you remember I got a big book on Conan the Barbarian?
Yes.
The movie.
Yes.
And it was written by John Walsh, that book, who I've met several times at Doctor Who events at the BFI.
That's nice.
Nevertheless, it said the publisher sent you an early copy, so I didn't get a chance to sign it. The book plate, sticker and bookmark are enclosed. So he sent me a signed sticker, which I've put in. But then he started riffing. John Walsh. Publishers tell me that the number one bookmark is a train ticket.
All right.
I was surprised given how few paper tickets are in circulation. My preference is a cinema or theatre ticket. Now, I went through a period, I've talked on the show about this, of trying to find a bookmark opposite to the book.
Oh, I see. Thematically linked.
So if I read The Fall by Albert Camus, I might use a Fall ticket stub from when I went to see The Fall.
Oh, I see.
But they're not always that precise, but I do try and get them close. Like if I was reading Tarzan of the Apes, I might use a banana as a bookmark. Anyway, he said, you asked, there's more from John Walsh. You asked last week, what were the most bought things not used much? I think I suggested the Rubik's Cube. And
yes.
Professor Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time. There were other suggestions. He said, but how about the most used things that are not often bought? I.e. the bookmark.
Okay.
I would say the coat hanger might be in that.
Oh, you see, I deviate from that. I do buy coat hangers.
You buy coat hanger? No, they just come. If you wait,
Not
they'll
word.
come.
Not word. and I have to have wood.
Oh.
I've had crocheted ones that have just appeared.
you
If
like-
you build it, I mean the wardrobe,
Yeah.
they will come.
If you assemble it, they will
Yeah,
come.
just build a wardrobe and wait.
Do you tolerate wire hangers?
Oh, yeah. I particularly like a wire hanger with its little fitted cardboard shelf to save the trousers.
Oh,
You know
I
what
find
mean?
that a bit delusions of grandeur when it gets the cardboard out.
Oh,
Just
dear.
accept that you're wire.
Can I ask you a question, Pierre? If you hang a suit, do you hang them on one hanger, or do you have those separate trouser hangers that one sees?
Oh, those sort of rectangular hangers.
Yes.
No, I've got those sort
Rectangers, I call them.
of... The rectangers.
Yeah.
I always use that for my suits, Frank. Have a little. Don't you like the clippies?
What, the separate...
Yeah, the
I know, I
clippies.
don't like that mysterious plastic string that goes across it. What's that for?
I've got some of those hangers that look like they're sort of coat hangers that have been to the gym.
Oh, with the shoulder padded.
Oh, those with the big shoulders,
With
yeah.
for jackets.
You
and,
would have those,
and that's-
muscle man.
and that's
Conan the Barbarian hangers.
I was snobbed, by the way, by Pierre this week. I haven't
What?
mentioned it.
What happened?
How are you snubbed?
I'm doing a week in the West End with my stand-up show, and I said, well, I want Pierre as my support. Oh, Pierre's on tour, I was told.
When?
Tight hair! Yeah.
This week.
No, end of October.
Oh, yes.
I probably
Halloween
shouldn't have
tour.
announced it. You know, this idea that you can't announce things that are going to happen. What difference does it make? What difference? No one's ever told me what difference. We all have to announce it on the same day. Clank, 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 clank.
I'm never clear on the surprise aspect. Yeah.
No. I'm telling you now, I'm doing a week at the Lyric at the end of October. If you want to get tickets, get in early. I don't know who my support will be because my first choice knocked me back.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, you were talking earlier about unseen characters, off-screen characters, essentially, in TV shows, and our readers, they've delivered. They really have, haven't they?
Yes,
Pierre?
the correspondence has exploded.
I mean, I don't know if we can count this. I'm going to. It's not a drama, but the banker in Deal or No Deal.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, that's a
On the
good
phone.
one.
The banker.
Who was a little bit flirty with me when I was on Deal or No Deal.
Really?
Really? Oh, did you meet the banker when you were on Deal or No Deal?
No. But it got a bit,
What was his voice
I'll
like?
see you after sort
I
of
wonder
thing
if,
during the phone call.
I read somewhere that Skippy the bush kangaroo was actually 5 kangaroos that were kept in a knotted sack in the back of a transit van. And they picked out the one that looked the most alert for the next scene.
And was a wallaby.
Was it a wallaby?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just lied to us.
I mean, that's outrageous.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there were several bankers.
No, there was one man.
Really?
I had information about this. I
But you
knew
never
someone
met
who knew
him?
him. No, you're not allowed to meet him.
He's like, what was that guy on Top Gear? Zig or something?
The stick.
The stick.
You called him Zig.
Yeah,
I,
Zig.
I never watched that. I'm no interest in cars
No.
whatsoever.
No. Rob Freeman, I hope you're comfortable with this, Frank. I think this is respectful, the way it's put. Unseen characters, God on Songs of Praise.
I think that is good. I like it.
It's acknowledging that he is a character.
No, I like it.
She
yeah.
or she.
Or she. I think he and she, probably.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Maris from Frasier.
In his likeness, male and female, he made them.
There you are.
Go on.
Okay.
Maris from Frasier.
Maris.
Niles Crane's wife.
No, Frank won't watch that.
I
That's not
know.
very Frank.
I don't like the American things that people talk about in the office.
He doesn't like American things.
There's
I like some
American
American. I
things.
haven't really watched American TV shows since they weren't wearing Stetsons.
You'd like Frasier. It's sort of.
I think I have seen Frasier. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Maris is.
There was an
probably-
English lady in it, wasn't
Yes.
there? Yeah.
Okay. And we've had a lot of people
Good
saying...
summary.
There was an English woman in it. Yes. Oh, good.
I just needed a point of contact.
Oh, thank God.
Oh dear. We've had a lot of people saying her indoors, of course.
Oh, yes.
Arthur Daly, that was
Yeah,
it?
it was.
Minder.
I'm worried that we've uncovered something here.
What?
It's always the wife.
My wife.
My wife.
She must be obeyed. Her indoors. There's an element of it's the women are the unseen.
Yes, and
figures.
Captain Mannering's wife as well, who's been mentioned here.
Okay.
A lot, yeah.
Did she was named, was she at least?
Well, Richie Rich says, favourite unseen character, Mrs. Captain Mannering, always Elizabeth on the end of the phone line. Closest we got to seeing her on screen was a large droop in the air raid shelter top bunk bed that Mannering hit his head against.
That was the closest they got to feminism in the 70s.
Just
Oh.
a
The
large
fact that she
droop.
was named.
She had a name.
People
She
were
actually had a name.
complaining. I can't believe they named the wife.
Well, women's livers have been burned in their bras.
Frank, just to restore balance, though, some characters of all genders are in this.
Oh, good.
From Mark Allen. Favourite unseen characters, Shane 2.
Oh, that is cruel and cutting. In case you don't know, I wrote an entire sitcom. We filmed it, we edited it, we polished it up. The sound job was done, it was delivered to ITV, and there it remains on a shelf, unseen. Yeah, good point, though.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
We've been discussing greatest unseen characters.
Yeah.
And I rather like this one. I think this will appeal to you as well. Godot, Dean has suggested.
Oh, we've had God and Goddo. Fantastic.
And Shane too, lest we forget.
Yes, we've had that.
A few people getting in touch saying the thing upstairs from Trapdoor. Feed me. That kids' cartoon, no?
Oh, I don't like kids'
I
cartoon.
don't know that.
I thought you guys would. How do I know a British reference and you
I
guys
only
don't?
ever
This is
watched
outrageous.
one kids cartoon, and that was
Yes, you find
Hair Bear
cartoons
Bunch.
upsetting.
I just find them depressing.
Hair Bear Bunch, yeah.
I
At the
only
Wonderland Zoo.
It just felt vaguely aspirational. That they were making their houses nicer, you know.
The
they
Hair
took-
Bear Bunch.
Yeah, I thought they were aspirational characters. They dressed nicely. I find cartoon characters very depressing.
What about Yogi
people.
Bear? He's aspirational. He wants picnic baskets.
Oh, really depressing life.
In the woods.
He just wears a hat. What are you, a bear or a man? Pick a lane.
All right.
Pierre's asked that 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah. I got enough of that at home. I don't need to come to the radio station and have that thrown in my face.
Frank, Steve Burgess.
Yes.
Steve Burgess, what does that sound like? It sounds like he should be something.
Steve Burgess.
Where should he work?
A traitor. Wasn't Burgess and McLean the two of the...
yes.
Some of the
With Traitor Blunt, of
Steve Traitor Burgess. The teacher on the Charlie Brown cartoons.
Yes.
course. But we do hear them, though, don't we?
Well, we hear what.
Yeah, we do hear that.
Oh, they don't do what, do they?
That's how they talk.
No, they go... Yeah, but I didn't know that. That's how it goes,
Yeah.
I used to love those Charlie Brown cartoons.
They were good. And the fun dancing style of Snoopy the dog.
Yeah,
The sort of arms
and that
out.
sort of slightly disturbing piano.
Yeah.
I found that so depressing.
Slightly discordant or sort of oddly paced. An unsettling watch.
Memorised, of course.
Yeah. Frank,
Probably wasn't.
Mark has been in touch.
Idle classical
subject-
musicians. Couldn't be bothered.
Who was that person? We need to dig that out here. Someone rather brilliant also messaged us to point out that it's they're dependent on someone else to tell them what to do, i.e. the conductor.
Yeah,
they can't even do their job without guidance.
Can't even keep time. You'd think keeping time might be a thing a musician could do.
I think it's a house of cards is collapsing in front of us. This has been a scam.
It is classical music, hiding in plain sight. By the way, you'll never guess who was principal bassoon in that orchestra. I should say that
Mark Rylance.
The Rites of Spring, as performed by the Aurora Orchestra, is the most I've ever enjoyed a classical music. It was brilliant. So it was brilliant.
That's because they learnt it.
Yeah, exactly.
They practiced.
It'd be better if they weren't just reading it. You turn the page, Jeff, like that. But principal bassoon was Amy Harmon, the daughter of Harriet.
Oh.
If you remember, once said to me at the opera, well, don't tell me you like opera.
Oh, very progressive. I like the idea of a character called Principal Bassoon.
Yeah, that'll be in...
Greece.
National Lampoon.
No, it'd be too much like Lampoon. I wouldn't let it get through the meeting.
All right, well, it's not actually being suggested, guys.
Oh, sorry, I thought...
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, Mark has been in touch.
Sorry, I thought that was a dog barking.
No.
Carry on.
Dear Frank and team, I'm 100% with you on the subject of milk versus dark chocolate.
Oh, God, yes.
Gavin,
Why is there even a debate about it? But I'll tell you what I wouldn't say. It's not graded in quality. So I don't necessarily feel that Milky Bar is better than milk. It doesn't get better as it gets lighter.
No.
There is a Via Media, which is milk chocolate, and that to me is the pinnacle.
although you introduced me to something pretty special, which was a Buzz discovery, I believe.
Oh, well, blonde chocolate is... I mean, I put that out on its own.
Blondie chocolate.
Blonde chocolate is the creme de la creme. Plain chocolate is chocolate for people who don't like chocolate, I would
Really?
say. Yeah.
Plain chocolate.
Plain chocolate is people trying to be a bit serious.
You are layering.
Do you know what I always felt it was?
upon opinion on people's chocolate preferences.
I always felt it was something like you always bought your dad it in the 70s because the concept of chocolate was a bit babyish.
Yeah, it's like people say,
the
oh, I
dads.
don't have a television. Oh, I like plain chocolate. Oh, do you?
But where do you put fruit and nut in all this, Frank?
But that doesn't fit into plain chocolate, does it?
Some of those ads were a
No,
bit
but I mean,
problematic, so can we be careful there? Okay? Some of those TV ads were a bit problematic. So,
Were they?
Yeah.
Oh,
Look back-
everyone's...
Yeah,
yes.
okay, Frank. Yeah.
I think you can still get away
No, I
with that.
don't think... Let's not risk
You
it.
mean back when they said fruit and nut, Hitler's favourite treat? Very problematic.
Can I finish what Mark was going to say?
Yeah,
Lois?
sorry, Mark.
Mark continues, Gavin Rankin, owner of Bellamy's restaurant in Mayfair, where the late Queen ate celebratory meals on a number of occasions. Famously there, they serve a bowl of milk chocolate Galaxy Minstrels at the end of each meal, and wait for the most brilliantly posh thing ever, saying, one should never underestimate the honest appeal of cheap chocolate.
Wow.
It's a damn great and truly classy joint. Good enough for Her Late Majesty.
So the Queen would eat
Well, at
chocolate
this,
Skittles?
that's not
Unclear.
confirmed.
It is implied that Her Majesty...
That's yet to be confirmed, but exactly, it's implied this was a tradition they embraced, and she would have similarly.
You have to be like a sort of equerry. We can confirm that Her Majesty was presented with the minstrels. As to the consumption, well...
She was a famously good appetite, though, the Queen.
Oh, yeah?
Was she? Did
At
she?
school, she was known as Elizabeth II's.
Really?
Yes.
Are you actually doing this?
I was there when she got her birthday cake on her 93rd birthday, and that was a big one.
Was it?
Yeah.
She had tiny arms as well.
No, she
why
couldn't
they called-
completely embrace it.
That's what they called her, Elizabeth Rex.
Ah,
God.
Yeah, there we go.
I feel we're on a declining scale.
Yes.
Well, you
To talk
helped us get
orchestra
there,
again.
mate.
Yeah, to talk orchestra.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Now, Frank, my favourite dream of yours that you've ever had.
Yes, I don't normally tell people
8,
about
12,
dreams.
15.
Yeah.
Favourite dream that Frank Skinner has ever had.
Yes.
What about my one when Judy Finnegan was driving me to a talk by Chancellor Helmut Kohl, and I'm honestly not mad. This was a dream. And we got there, and I sit next to Judy, and at one point she just stands up with a pistol and shoots Helmut Kohl. But anyway, I had another one when there was something terrifying at the top of the stairs.
Yeah.
And it was Dracula. And when I woke up, I was so embarrassed that my subconscious was so route one as to go. I woke up thinking, Dracula, is that the best you can come up
And it
with?
wasn't even like a kind of modern, like, it's Dracula, but we've given him like kind of quite animalistic.
I'd done nothing
No,
with it.
I decided
done
also,
nothing with
Frank, was it Dracula in the fancy dress?
Opera.
It was absolutely
Nylon.
always slightly overdressed. Like I say, people say to Dracula all the time, "Oh, you're going somewhere nice." I always dress like this.
And he's got a sort of MBE around his neck or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like medal there
He's
for something.
also, I reckon do you think he has pyjamas with those stiff collars at the top?
Yeah, he probably has a T-shirt with the badge and the tie and everything, like Cliff Richard used to wear with the
Just for a
suit
bit
on.
of Netflix and chill tonight.
Do you think with his collars, he's like, I can't get them to stay down? So there's an interesting article as a fan of Dracula.
Yeah, we've just warmed up the Dracula bed. Now we can jump into it together.
Oh, no, thank you.
Come on, fire it out.
Allegedly, perhaps the real life Dracula was a
Spokesman,
vegan.
a castle spokesman.
Castle spokesman. We don't like to talk about the Count's diet, but we.
They think he was a vegan.
They think he was a
Well,
vegan.
he was based. The theory is.
Who's this, the Mr. Impaler?
Well, the theory is that Bram Stoker, who wrote Dracula, based him on a 15th century nobleman called Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah.
Who, it said in the article, also known as Vlad Dracula, which I didn't know. So he didn't even make the name up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a Mr. Dracula home? Speaking.
Letter from Mr. C. Dracula.
Igor's there saying, you have to hide better than this.
Igor's
getting-
Frankenstein.
Igor's the other one.
I'm getting my fancy.
Do you know what? I
Renfield.
actually find that very offensive to the Impaler community.
Renfield.
To the impaling community, I should
That's
say.
what I'm thinking of.
What are you thinking?
Isn't Renfield his assistant, Dracula?
Well, Renfield is sort of imprisoned by him. He
Hang on.
goes there.
No,
He's a
that's
sort of
Count
an
Dracula.
Isn't he a sort of estate agent?
yeah, but he becomes a sort of minion of Dracula's.
Well, they all do once bitten.
I think
Anyway,
he-
we're not
Anyway.
here to recount,
So,
are we? To recount.
We do know what he looked like, though, don't we?
Yeah, well, we know what Vlad the Impaler looked
He had
like.
swollen nostrils, bushy black eyebrows, and a moustache.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
And he used to say stuff like, well, that is the worst thing I ever heard. If I dance any closer, I'll be in back of you. I think that was... she was so thin, she swallowed a tomato and 3 guys left town. That's what he was like.
They get into a taxi and 42 people would come out the other side.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Next.
well, we were on Dracula.
Oh, we were talking about Vlad the Impaler, the man who Dracula was based on. There was a revelation
Yes.
this week.
Yeah.
That he may have been a vegan.
Yeah, Vegan Dracula
Yeah.
was the headline. Which, I don't know, instantly made me sing Vegan Dracula to the tune of Nat King Cole's Unforgettable. Vegan Dracula, that's what you are.
Vegan
Dracula, we're near or far. Anyway,
I quite like the article had a line, nothing screams bloodthirsty vampire quite like the name Dracula.
no.
Well,
that-
yes.
That is true.
They're not wrong. Would you say, though, I think this isn't great for Dracula's brand, is it?
It's not great for vegans, brand.
No.
Especially when you couple it with, wasn't Hitler a vegetarian?
Yes.
That's a theme here.
Oh,
The
no.
Middle European.
These people suppress their physical appetites, but their mental appetites go through the ceiling.
Maybe not these people.
Well,
It makes sense that Dracula was a vegan, though, because he was terrified of steaks.
Very good. I like that.
Thank you.
I wondered if they could have mixed him up with Vlad the Impaler, which I believe are vegans. You would
Okay.
know. You must have seen impalas in the wild, Pierre.
Have you?
Thousands.
Have you?
Loads, yeah.
Okay. Are they nice, are they?
Yeah, they're sort of what they call the McDonald's of the bush.
What do you mean?
Which is they're what everyone eats. They're just food running around.
He doesn't have our
bush burgers.
sensitivities, Frank.
No, you only British people only like animals with eyelashes. Donkeys, deer, anything with eyelashes.
Don't you judge us. He had long eyelashes, Vlad.
Did he?
Yeah, I actually think he sounds quite good looking.
Vlad.
Frank?
Well, there is a portrait of him.
I liked it, what I saw.
Vlad, the thing that sticks in my mind about Vlad, obviously, the
impaling.
apart from
He
the
would have
basic
stuck it in your
impact.
mind.
That will stick in your mind.
It's odd because it's weird from the legend. What if he has taken it from Vlad the Impaler? He's sort of taken because Vlad the Impaler, I think, had wooden stakes at the bottom of his castle that he used to throw people onto or have them thrown.
Yeah.
And the fact that he has Dracula killed by a wooden stake is a bit the biter bit, as it were.
Oh, I see. He got his revenge.
But one thing that the historical Vlad famously did was a group of diplomats went to talk to him about his treatment of the local villagers. And he sent them back with their hats nailed to their heads. I mean, it was windy, to be fair. So he actually...
He's quite considerate in
He
his own way.
invented the hat pin. Vlad the Impaler. In its early form.
I
bet he was quite hard work to have a relationship with.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he was married.
Yeah, I
Vlad the
don't-
Impaler. If there was
It'd be funny to see.
Mrs. Impaler.
Vlad the Impaler, never married. Oh, what a shame.
What about when he attends royal balls? Vlad and the lady Impaler. Impaler. I could imagine in Hampstead meeting a posh and pretty young girl called something like Impaler Jackson
Yes,
Luth.
definitely,
Yes.
definitely.
I think we should.
If you don't mind, it's Mrs. Impaler to you.
I think we should encourage Impaler to become a name.
Yeah.
I was going to say a Christian name, but I don't know what his beliefs were.
I think he might have been one of yours, Frank.
Do you
was he?
think?
Yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't say he followed the teaching of the Nazarene to the letter. But, you know.
He got confused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's...
certainly doesn't react well to crosses currently.
but it's... No. But it is... it's a shocker, isn't it, the vegan?
Vlad the Impaler, you only just hurt.
Not the vegan thing. It's just not right.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're talking about the Impalers.
Yes, and vegan Dracula.
Yes. And
Vegan
they've discovered this, Frank, because I think it's letters, is it? Is it an old letters?
Yes, you might think that the way to discover if Dracula is vegan is just to ask him, but the historical Dracula is actually dead.
Yes.
So they had to use the team at, where is it, the University of Catania?
Somewhere in Italy.
Extracted blood, sweat, fingerprints and saliva, messy writer, from a letter.
Must have been a hell of a letter, hadn't it? I bet he wrote a lot of letters like that. I bet it was about parking, local parking.
He's just furious.
He wrote to the
Disgusted Transylvania.
He was writing to the council all the
Yeah, there
time.
was 3 tickets on his coach when he went out to it.
Yeah.
I'll nail this to their heads. Oh, you've done that already. Have a new thing.
They kept missing his bin collections.
I bet he's got that.
Trust me, he had big bin collections, Frank.
But I bet when he got the tickets, he put them on one of those metal spikes where you put your paperwork.
He only ever eating shish kebabs just in every aspect of his life.
Vlad.
An impaler.
So it turns out he wasn't a bloodthirsty monster. He was a bit more halloumi and roasted cauliflower.
Yeah.
He
love
thirsted
him.
for nutrition.
Well, he had a disease I wasn't familiar with, but it sounds awful. In that he...
Absolute radio.
They think he... yeah. Oh, no. Has it gone too dark for breakfast? Too dark for breakfast. So,
I was dancing in my chair.
yes, there's an illness where you cry tears of blood.
Like Le Chiffre.
Well, a sheaf, I
In
had
the
it in
Bond
Casino
film.
Royale.
I think I once did it in Smethwick Supplementary Benefit Office when it was suggested I might look for work.
Too dark for breakfast.
So they tested all the saliva and the DNA to discover this disease and to discover the diet.
That is
Yeah.
a real thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Then that the weeping
No,
the tears of blood.
really do think he had it.
Yes.
Is that
how he
just a
got-
happy coincidence?
That's how he got. Well, not the happy, shouldn't he? But the Nazarene did it in the Garden of Gethsemane.
Really?
Just saying.
Okay.
They say that
Too religious for breakfast. So
they say that this letter though that wasn't to the council.
no.
It was written to the burghers of Sibiu
Okay.
by Dracula, and he
Of course, he didn't like burgers.
No, he wanted to see how.
Dear sirs, I strongly object.
suggest you have a portobello mushroom instead?
There are plenty of decent plant-based substitutes.
He wrote to the townsfolk of Sibiu.
I bet he did.
To inform them that he would soon be living in their village. And
Great
Yeah.
news.
Imagine getting that letter.
there is nothing more frightening than discovering that a vegan is coming to visit.
No, that's yeah.
To try and, how do we cater to
Do
him?
you think they wrote back to him with dietary requirements? Then?
No, it's all right. Just bring yourself.
Yeah.
And I bring anything.
We tried to frighten him with garlic. He just ate it.
You never touch those virgins.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Can I say, by the way, we've been talking about Vlad the Impaler being a vegan based on scientific research, and I fully expect whenever we talk about research on this programme,
Yeah.
at the end it's usually been done by Toblerone
Yes.
or Inside Soap
Yes.
magazine. This was done by the journal Analytical Chemistry.
Yes.
So I think this is the real thing.
Although I was going to save this till the end. Put on my fact-based ruin the fun hat.
Oh, God.
here we go.
We do love you for that, as long as you put it on at the end.
Yeah.
Here he is to pop the balloon. We've all spent a little bit of time each
think-
blowing up the balloon, and now it's time.
We've
to
all
pop.
had way too much fun.
Right, time for bed, everyone. Big cold bed of facts. I'm a bit skeptical of this
Why?
because often this kind of ruler wouldn't be the one writing their own letter. So the saliva and the fingerprints would be of his servants.
Yeah, but Vlad was
And
a
the
control
monks.
freak.
Oh, yes, I think he wrote his own letters.
Some of the rulers were
It was
illiterate.
signed, but Maybe they got it all from the signature.
Those were just 2 puncture holes from a stapler.
Did it say signed? What is it? But
Vlad
not witnessed. Or whatever.
Alan Dracula.
Vlad Dracula. Too obvious. Just say Vlad.
Signed Vlad, brackets, Dracula. Just in case you didn't know. I was trying to think of like rebranding Dracula stuff for if he was vegan, right?
Yeah.
So you know how original Dracula turns into a bat? Flies away.
Oh, gee.
So like a dandelion just drifts away.
Oh, no.
Like that? That would be the vegan version?
I think to rebrand Dracula, maybe he needs to come out with some sort of leisure wear. Just sort of like, look,
No,
I'm
never
really.
Oh, Drackies.
Get your Drackies on.
No, it's,
Dracula in a
I
loose
think
pair of
it's
sweatpants.
formality. is
Really?
everything.
You can't
Yeah.
ever see him in a baseball cap?
I can imagine as well.
hair, though.
I once met the celebrity homosexual Quentin Crisp, and he was one of the first high-profile gay men, and he was. I saw his off-Broadway show, and his whole thing was that he always wore. He never washed anything. He never cleaned his flat, and he was very powdered. And he had dust on his shoulders. I mean, he really did look like a Victorian, or sort of Edwardian gentleman had appeared from the past.
Yeah.
And I imagine that Dracula, I think he just wears that stuff all the time. I think he must smell a bit of the mortuary.
Yeah.
Yes, I imagine the cloak was a little bit shiny as well.
Yeah, I don't think he's just, left his valet after a shower and everything, got a new set of nice gear.
There are no dry cleaners open at night.
No, drac cleaners.
Cleaners. I was trying to think as well of, because, the Dracula phrases, I want to suck your blood.
Did he ever
can't-
say that? do you
Did he
think?
say that? That was just Mike Yarwood.
That was just...
Yes, it was a bit more to Ronnie's idea of
God
Dracula,
bless
wasn't
him.
it?
But I thought, what's the vegan version of that? And the best, because I wanted it to scan, I wanted it to rhyme.
Okay.
The best I could do is, I want to munch your spuds.
Yeah.
That's the closest
trouble
I can
is with
get.
that, it doesn't sound literal.
No.
No.
It sounds
It sounds
very...
Quentin Crisp.
He would never have said that. He was class personified.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Okay, Nostradamus. Justin of Earlwood. Okay, sounds like a nice friend of Robin of Sherwood.
It is a bit like that, yeah.
Has got in touch regarding people seen off screen. Or people not, what do we call it again, Frank?
Unseen characters.
Unseen characters, yeah.
Robin Masters, the owner of the estate in Magnum PI.
Oh, God, that is a bit...
I do remember Robin being referred to by Tom Selleck.
I
occasionally.
was once introduced on... Is it Front Row, the arts programme on Radio 4?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was introduced as a public intellectual, and I put forward the idea that Magnum was a public intellectual. People misunderstood the initials, PI. But I don't think he was, to be fair.
We had a...
TBF.
No. We had a couple of people trying to claim that Nelson's last words were Kismet Hardy.
As in fate.
As in fate.
Yeah.
But the sources do not. It's possible, but I don't
I've
know
heard
why.
about-
As you were dying, you'd suddenly speak Turkish.
Well, I think people did use Kismet. In fact, there's an Elvis Presley song called Kismet.
I've heard this Kismet theory, but stop being spoil sports.
Well, the Greenwich Maritime Museum says the Kismet only really starts appearing in sources after 1805, so it's very unlikely.
You know what I love there, Pierre? Haven't had that for ages.
What's that?
It was very history teacher when they speak about history in the present tense. They say, and Kismet only really starts appearing.
Oh, yeah.
You know when they do that? So, of course, Henry
Yes.
VIII only really starts
Doesn't
destroying
it-
the monastery.
Doesn't it sound like a lot of men in billiard rooms saying, "You couldn't possibly have said kiss me, Hardy."
Something like that in the Navy?
Yeah, exactly.
I won't hear of it. I won't hear of it. It was definitely Turkish.
So that's what I'm surprised they let him speak Turkish. I mean, that's how desperate they were.
Yeah,
to make him heterosexual.
Someone just saying, well, what's more likely? A man kissing a man in the Navy
We've
or speaking
uncovered
Turkish?
an
Exactly.
obscure Turkish word.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a George Formby song called "If Men Like Them Like Women Like Those, Why Don't Women Like Me?"
Yes, I know that.
And there's a song he refers to the Lady Hamilton relationship with Nelson. He says, take Lord Nelson with one limb. Lady Emma Hamilton, she fell for him with one eye and one arm gone west. She run like the devil and she grabbed the rest. Oh, if women like
dear.
them, like men, like very fine grasp of history, Formby.
Yes.
Formby Jr.
Do you think maybe more people would know their history better if it was delivered by sort of high-pitched ukulele accompaniment?
Yeah. Well, there's also a Napoleon. It's all about why did women go for ugly men. So why did she go for... but it's...
Generally
that she
money.
was the most... It talks about late Empress Josephine, something like the loveliest woman that was ever seen. But Napoleon, short and fat, captivates a lovely-looking dame like that.
Well, George, perhaps if you'd conquered Egypt, you'd also have a nice new girlfriend. Sort of playing the ukulele all the time.
Instead, he had Beryl, who screamed at him and told him what to do. Oh, life! Ooh, life, everybody! Ooh, life! Oh, I really feel like another round of that, but I better not.
No.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
We had a text from 454 regarding Quentin Crisp.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the late 40s and early 50s, my mother, as a young teenager, used to get the bus home from work in Pimlico and often shared a seat and chatted to Quentin Crisp.
Brilliant. I met him after the show in
Well, she says she always
NYC.
she always commented on how polite he was and his purple painted finger and toenails.
Yeah. No, he was a courageous man.
But I can't imagine. How is she seeing his toes?
He probably wore a sandal.
I can't picture him wearing a sandal.
It depends if
noble
it was
man
an
like
Edwardian sandal.
Yes, yes.
Maybe a slingback.
Never heard of such a concept. Did they have sandals in Edwardian times?
Surely they had sandals in Roman times.
Well, Romans, but it was a bit more outdoorsy, their culture.
Well, not if they were
Did-
stuck on Adrian's wall looking out for Picts and
Did-
Scotties.
Frank, did the
Who were Irish,
Edwardians
incidentally.
embrace an open-toed shoe?
Who?
The Edwardians, did they embrace an open-toed shoe?
I don't know, Vera. I don't know what the Edwardians embraced.
Frank, there's a man opposite us currently at
Yes.
Absolute Radio Towers on a balcony. He looks like some sort of George Clooney Nespresso ad. No payment. But don't you think it looks like a sort of coffee ad?
Well, what he's doing is he's smoking out of the window. He's
On the
one of those
balcony,
guys.
and he's got a white vest on.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. These are the conditions we're working under.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
you think it'd be a sort of voiceover of like energy is the most important part of the universe. So some rambling indirect allusion to coffee.
I don't know.
oh, yeah. Or maybe one of those, what's that French beer that they used to advertise with bearded men in World War II talking?
Oh,
I know exactly what you mean.
What's it called,
I
that
can't
French
remember. It's
beer?
got something with a year after it or something.
I don't know. I'm not interested in
Frank.
beer.
1664.
Jenny
No, it's
in Dalkeith.
Stella Artois.
Jenny in Dalkeith has been in touch. She actually got in touch during the week. 490. Read the Go Compare Man. She was just very keen to hear your thoughts on the Go Compare Man. Is currently on Celebrity MasterChef and is doing very well.
He won it, apparently.
So she's interested to know specifically Frank's thoughts on this.
Well,
Your
I
witness,
think he
Frank
should have
Skinner.
been made to go on as Luigi or whatever the Go Compare Man is called.
Yeah.
He should have done that.
omelette, like the whole thing.
I think he should have. I think he should have been forced to bend the moustache inwards and use it as a hands-free for a corn on the cob.
I think it's a bit weird him doing it. Who else? Up this week, Meerkat.
Exactly.
Can't have commercial characters on a show.
Greg Wallace, your moustache is amazing. Wow.
Yes. Thanks for listening. That's us done. The next episode of Frank Skinner's, not Francie Skinner, Frank Skinner's poetry podcast will be out on Wednesday. It's Geoffrey Hill. I've got to tell you this, guys. Every now and again, I allow myself to be completely self-indulgent in my work. And Geoffrey Hill, the Geoffrey Hill Poetry Podcast, which you can download from wherever you get your podcast this Wednesday, is called Mercy and Hymns, and it's a combination of the podcast, a combination of poetry and Anglo-Saxon history. Man, did I love it! Oh, I love it. I loved doing it so much. I hope you like it too. You know what? Thanks for listening this morning. I'm going to say Emile Franchi again just because I can. You know when you've learned something, you just want to keep doing it. I only say it every week. Anyway, thanks for listening. If good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.